Hey everybody, Sedg here, and I'm going to be giving you some first impressions on the Battlefield 1 beta today, and what I think of the game as a whole, based on the beta. I absolutely love this game. I love the aesthetics of it, I love the gameplay, I love the guns. It's all awesome, because no one's ever really done, with the exception of Verdun, no one has really done a game focused on the First World War before. That being said, there are a lot of things in this game. Now, I do not know a lot about the guns of the First World War, like the prototypes and everything. I do know, however, that the machine gun was a fairly new invention, and I'm not sure if they actually had a submachine gun like the assault class uses. But historical accuracy aside, the game is fantastic, and it looks great. Now, they've restructured the classes a bit since Battlefield 4. And anybody who's been following this game already knows that. For you newcomers, who might not have been looking into Battlefield 1 for whatever reason, or the class restructuring slipped over your head, or you're a newcomer to the series, let me explain how things worked in Battlefield 4. In Battlefield 4, you had 4 classes. You had your medic class, which was your assault, you had your support, you had your engineer, and you had your sniper. Assault had the medic job, and they used assault rifles. Engineer used personal defense weapons, carbines, shotguns. I mean, every class can use carbines and shotguns, but the engineer's primary was personal defense weapons, so like the MP5 type of guns. And they fixed vehicles and destroyed vehicles. Snipers obviously spot enemies and kill them from range, and support was dropping ammo and laying down suppressing fire with big heavy machine guns. In Battlefield 1, they've dropped the engineering class completely from the class select screen. There's still 4 classes. There's the assault, which is now your tank destroyer class, so they come equipped with tank grenades, the AT rocket gun, which is just a big ass sniper that fires like a really big round, a really big explosive round, and they come with anti-tank mines. The anti-tank grenade, very slow to throw, will not explode unless it will not explode on contact unless it hits a tank, and they're really the only class that's equipped to front deal with the tanks, like the one you're seeing in the clip now, which this is the light tank. There are 3 different types of tanks. There's light tank, heavy tank, and the land ship, which, if you're familiar with war history at all, you will recognize the land ship instantaneously as being the big box with the 2 treads like on the entire side going over the top of the tank. Awesome looking tank. We'll get to tanks in a minute then. The next restructuring is the medic class. Your medic class now has your designated marksman rifle in Battlefield 4 to speak. They're the single shot, medium to long range rifles, which can do a lot of damage if you use them at their effective range. If you use them outside of that, your damage drop off is pretty severe because this is World War I. Still, the medic class has same goals: revive squad mates, heal squad mates, heal yourself. Basically, support the team and make sure people don't die or stay dead. I personally am loving the medic class because I love the rifle. I love the versatility of it because I can fight somebody at medium range. If I need to, I can fight somebody at close range, but that's what I have a pistol for. And if it comes down to the most extreme situation, I can fight somebody at semi-long range. Not sniper long range, but, you know, a fairly long distance away. Your support class, same thing. They have the big machine guns, they have the ammo. Really, the biggest restructuring is to the assault and the medic class. Your engineer class now is actually something you spawn in as, and you don't actually see it here. Well, no, that's not true. At the end of this, when this tank dies, you'll see me come out and I'll have a little carbine rifle. That's your mechanic class. You have to spawn into a vehicle to get either the pilot class or the mechanic class. And you have to spawn into a tank or a plane, because they're the only ones who can fix tanks or planes, which adds a couple new abilities to their arsenal. One, they can fix their tanks while stationary without leaving the tank, so you don't have to jump out of your tank anymore and hammer on it, which means people aren't going to come up, and while you're repairing your tank, they're not going to drive away with it. Flip side of that, if somebody does steal your tank, for some reason you jump out to do something and someone steals your tank, they can't fix it because they don't have the ability. So it prevents people from basically causing an engineer to jump out of their tank, killing them, taking their tank, and then taking the enemy tank on a prolonged killing spree. Because they can just repair it themselves as an engineer. Unless they're a mechanic class that spawned in a tank, they do not have the ability to fix the tank. Which is awesome. I think that was a good balancing choice. I know some people are upset about it. I am not one of them.
We have taken objective.
I think that's all for the class restructuring, actually. Let's move on to tanks, actually, since we're watching some tank gameplay. So what you're seeing right now is the light tank. This is a single one-man tank with a big gun on it. Its sole purpose is to be a front-line combatant vehicle.
Taken objective George.
Drive up to the point, you use your shells to kill small vehicles, you know, annoy the land ships, and kill infantry. It has basically a big shotgun shell, and then the standard explosive round. I love the light tank. I love the fact that I can just jump into it and go. Flip side, you can go on a massive killing spree in this thing if you are not dealt with quickly by the enemy team, which brings up the whole, there's not a lot to deal with tanks in this game. There's just not. The land ship, which is the classic tank people think of when they think World War I, because it's in all the pictures, requires minimum 2 people to operate successfully. You have your driver, who has a front coaxial machine gun that has about a 45-degree firing arc, and you have a gunner, who sits in the side of the tank and operates one of the big heavy cannons. Little side note, I was trying this entire match to shoot down a plane with my tank, and I finally do it just after this. And the heavy tank, the front gunner gets the big gun, and then there's 5 other slots in the tank with machine gun ports, so you can defend the tank from all sides. It's basically a giant porcupine. But it's slow and lumbering and gigantic, and I personally don't prefer that tank. Just because you really do need a lot of people to make it effective. Which I guess is why I like this tank. You don't have to commit a lot of team resources to using this tank. Like, even the Lion ship, you have to commit at least 2 people, usually 3, so you have both side cannons firing, and the driver. Airplanes, 3 different types of airplanes. Unfortunately, you're not going to see any airplane gameplay. You have your attack plane, which is kind of a fighter bomber. You have your bomber, which is a bomber. And you have your fighter plane, which is a fast, they use the, Fokker D-12, I think is what it is, designed for it. So it's the triplane, like the Red Baron, like everybody knows the Red Baron use. And that's your fighter, so it's really fast, really nimble, can get on the tail of a bomber or a fighter, or a bomber or an attack plane really quick. Attack plane and the bombers both have secondary gunners. The bomber has 2, attack plane has 1. Now that's because the main guns of the attack plane do not fire quickly. They are very slow to fire, but they do a lot of damage. They're great for, well, I assume they'd be great since I didn't get to play on that map, for dealing with the big Zeppelins. I think that's all for
Halfway there, the enemy has the upper hand.
So, let's talk about a little bit of what I've noticed with some of the guns in the game. So, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Medic. I've played just about every class in the game for anywhere from 5 minutes to 4 hours, like the Medic class. I've spent the most time as Medic or Assault. Assault is great for close range engagement. So if you're around a point and you're trying to take out, defend the point and take people out close range while also dealing with the vehicles, Assault's the class you want to go with. Because that SMG, and that's another thing, they added horses and the cavalry. Their swords can cut you down like no other. But the Assault's great at close range because they're SMGs. at any kind of range, it's going to be extremely difficult to kill anybody. Medics, obviously, is your medium to long range combatant. The guns there feel really good. You can see here, this is me using, I forget what the name is. I should have looked at that. But, it's like the starting marksman rifle you get. And you can see here when I reload, the gun has a 10-round magazine. So basically, if you fire off all 10 rounds, you throw in five bullets in like 2 separate clips to load your 10, and it takes about 3 seconds. If you decide to reload before you fired off at least 5 shots, you have to individually load each bullet, which can lead to a slower reload time, which is awesome. Because now, you have to think, okay, I fired off 3 shots. Is it really worth it for me to reload my gun right now? Because it's going to take me longer to load in individual bullets than it would be to just slam in a 5-round magazine. Which I really like. There are gas grenades in the game, which is awesome. Because there's nothing more terrifying than having to throw on your gas mask in a house. This was a little bit of a moment of fail here. There's nothing more terrifying than having to throw on your gas mask because someone tossed a mustard gas grenade into a house. But it's also awesome because then you throw on the mask and you're sitting there with your submachine gun. This happened to me once, and I just took out like 4 guys. Also, bayonet charges are terrifying. What else? What else can I talk about? Oh, I guess map design. Yeah, let's go with map design. This map in particular, which is the Sinai Desert, I think is what it's called, has 2 different types to it. You fight in towns, like this one around Charlie here, which is very close to medium range combat. You're not going to see a lot of open space, so you got to check your corners. It's a lot like Battlefield Forest combat in their urban environments. But there's another part to this map around the base where I just came from, which is, they call it Freddy in this game. They use a different military alphabet. That's way more open, so you're more prone to sniper fire as well as bombing runs by aircraft. So they split the map kind of like that, which is awesome, because you can get that trench war feeling from this game, like you'd think you'd get from a World War I game, but you also get a lot of urban combat, so it's a familiar environment mixed with kind of a new environment. Since it is an older game, and you can probably see this from all the vehicles, you don't get any fancy digital readouts or anything like that telling you your range. You're in a box, and there's a window, and you see your gun. That's what it is, and that's awesome. The game just feels great, and I love it, and I can't wait for it to release in October. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I've given you some good information if you were kind of on the fence about this game. If you haven't checked out the open beta yet, no matter what console you're on, check it out, and let me know what you think of it in the comments below. As always, I'll see you next time. I am Sedg. Have a good night. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment down below to let me know how I'm doing, and subscribe to the channel to see more content.